It was a cold January morning in 1947. Los Angeles awoke to a chilling discovery. A young woman's body lay discarded in a vacant lot. Her name was Elizabeth Short, but the world would come to know her as the Black Dahlia.
This horrific crime shocked the city. It captivated the nation and became a haunting mystery that endures to this day.
Betty Bersinger stumbled upon the gruesome scene. She was walking with her young daughter. Bersinger initially thought she had found a discarded mannequin. As she got closer, the horrifying truth became clear. The body was real. It was posed, severed at the waist and drained of blood. This was no ordinary murder. This was a spectacle of violence and depravity. The LAPD arrived to a scene of unimaginable horror. The air was thick with tension as officers and detectives tried to make sense of the gruesome sight before them. Elizabeth Short's body was mutilated beyond recognition. Her remains were found in such a state that even seasoned investigators were left speechless. Her face was sliced into a grotesque grin, a macabre smile that seemed to mock the living. This was no ordinary crime. It was a message. This horrific detail, later dubbed the Glasgow smile, became the chilling hallmark of the Black Dahlia case. It was a signature that would haunt the public and law enforcement for years to come.
Her body was carefully posed, arms above her head, legs splayed. The precision with which she was arranged suggested a disturbing level of premeditation. The killer had taken meticulous care in staging the scene. Every detail seemed calculated to shock and horrify anyone who discovered her. The lack of blood at the scene was particularly perplexing. It was as if the killer had gone to great lengths to clean up, leaving no trace of the actual murder. It suggested the murder took place elsewhere. The body had been moved, adding another layer of complexity to the investigation. The killer then transported her body to this public location. This act of moving the body indicated a chilling level of control and confidence. This detail highlighted the premeditation and cold-blooded nature of the crime. It was clear that the perpetrator had planned every aspect meticulously.
The press, hungry for a story, descended upon the case. Reporters swarmed the scene, eager to capture every grisly detail and feed the public's morbid curiosity. They dubbed Elizabeth Short the Black Dahlia, a nickname inspired by her dark clothing. Her mysterious persona and tragic end captivated the nation. And the popular film noir of the time, The Blue Dahlia. The case became a media sensation, blending the lines between reality and the dark allure of Hollywood's noir fantasies. The brutality of the crime shocked even seasoned detectives. The killer had bisected Short's body with surgical precision. The cuts were clean, indicating a knowledge of anatomy. This gruesome detail suggested the killer might have had medical training.
The lack of blood at the scene further complicated the investigation. It pointed to a methodical cleanup and a killer who took precautions to cover their tracks.
Days turned into weeks and the case grew colder. Leads were followed, but none panned out. The killer seemed to have vanished without a trace. Every dead end deepened the mystery. The Black Dahlia case was quickly becoming a media sensation. The newspapers were filled with speculation and theories, yet the killer's identity remained elusive. The investigation took a bizarre turn when a chilling package arrived at the Los Angeles Examiner. It was an ordinary day at the newsroom until the package, wrapped in plain brown paper, was delivered. The atmosphere shifted immediately as the contents were revealed. Addressed to the editor, the package contained items that sent shivers down the spines of investigators. The label, written in a hurried scrawl, hinted at the urgency and importance of its contents. Inside the envelope, reporters found Short's birth certificate, social security card, and an address book with names meticulously removed. Each item was a piece of her life, now laid bare for the world to see, a haunting reminder of her existence and the life that was brutally taken from her. These personal belongings, taken from the victim, suggested a deeply personal motive for the murder. The removal of names from the address book indicated a deliberate attempt to erase connections, to sever ties that might lead back to the killer.
The envelope itself provided further clues. Its uneven lettering and the way it was sealed spoke volumes about the sender's state of mind. It was a patchwork of letters and words cut from newspapers. This method, often associated with ransom notes, added an extra layer of menace to the message. This method, known as a ransom note style, was a chilling reminder of the killer's control and audacity. The precision with which the letters were cut and arranged showed a meticulousness that was both impressive and terrifying. The meticulous nature of the package, the careful selection of contents, and the effort to conceal fingerprints all pointed to a killer who was organized, methodical, and enjoying the attention. The package was not just a message, it was a statement, a taunt to the investigators, daring them to catch the sender. The chilling realization that the killer was watching, waiting, and perhaps planning the next move left everyone on edge. The package sent to the examiner wasn't the only communication the killer attempted.
A series of postcards and letters arrived at the newspaper in the weeks that followed.
Each one contained taunting messages and cryptic clues, further fueling the public's fascination with the case.
These communications seemed designed to taunt the police.
They showcased the killer's arrogance and their desire to remain in control of the narrative.
Despite their best efforts, investigators were unable to lift any usable fingerprints from the letters or the package.
The killer had meticulously wiped everything clean.
This meticulous attention to detail only deepened the mystery. Who was this individual who could commit such a horrific act and then seemingly vanish into thin air? Just when the trail seemed to run cold, a new discovery rocked the investigation. A suicide note was found near the body of a man on Venice beach. The note read in part, "To whom it may concern, I have waited for the police to capture me for the Black Dahlia killing, but have not." This unexpected twist sent ripples through the community and reignited interest in the long, cold case. The note's cryptic message hinted at a deeper, darker connection to one of the most infamous unsolved murders in American history.
The location of the note, the timing, and the content immediately drew our attention. Investigators were left to ponder the implications of this new evidence. Was it a genuine confession, or merely a ploy to mislead the authorities? The note's discovery at such a public and iconic location added to the drama, making it a focal point for media and public speculation. Could this be a break in the case? The detectives, who had been tirelessly working on the investigation, now had a new lead to follow. The note's contents were analyzed meticulously, and every word was scrutinized for hidden meanings or clues that could point to the true identity of the Black Dahlia killer.
The man was identified as Robert Manley, a married salesman with a history of mental instability. He had been questioned early in the investigation due to his contact with Elizabeth Short before her death. Manley's suicide note sent shockwaves through the investigation. His troubled past and previous interactions with the victim made him a person of interest once again. The detectives had to consider whether his mental state had led him to fabricate the confession, or if there was a grain of truth in his final words.
Was this a confession, or a desperate attempt to insert himself into the narrative of a horrific crime? The investigators had to tread carefully, balancing the need for thorough examination with the sensitivity of the situation. The public awaited answers, and the pressure was on to determine the true significance of Manley's final act.
Adding to the intrigue, a pile of clothing was found discarded in a trash can near the suicide note. The clothes, identified as belonging to Elizabeth Short, included a purse, shoes, and a coat. This discovery raised more questions than answers.
Had Manley kept these items as trophies? Was this a final act of cruelty, a way to taunt the police from beyond the grave?
The presence of Short's belongings near Manley's suicide note fueled speculation about his involvement. However, investigators remained skeptical. The note itself was rambling and contradictory. It lacked specific details about the crime.
Could Manley truly be the Black Dahlia killer? Or was he a disturbed individual seeking notoriety by attaching himself to a high-profile case?
Despite the initial shock of Manley's suicide note, investigators were unable to find concrete evidence linking him to the crime. His alibi for the night of Short's disappearance checked out. The note, while suspicious, lacked the hallmarks of a genuine confession. The mystery of the Black Dahlia remained unsolved.
Over the years, the Black Dahlia case has become one of the most infamous unsolved murders in American history. Numerous suspects have been investigated, theories have been proposed, and books have been written, but the killer's identity remains unknown.
The lack of a definitive answer continues to captivate and haunt the public imagination. The Black Dahlia murder continues to fascinate and frustrate investigators and armchair detectives alike. The case has been the subject of countless books, documentaries and television shows, each offering new theories and revisiting old suspects. Despite advancements in forensic technology, the passage of time has only added to the difficulty of solving the case. The lack of a resolution has turned the Black Dahlia case into a modern-day myth. The gruesome nature of the crime, the mysterious clues, and the lack of a satisfying ending continue to captivate the public imagination. The Black Dahlia story serves as a stark reminder that some crimes may never be solved, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and enduring fascination.